Hey guys, I'm Janet, on occasion, and today playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. So, obviously it's been a while, been busy over Christmas, so, Merry Christmas. Know it's a bit late, but, yeah, I'm saying it now, so don't worry about it. I decided to bring the Empire, and I'm against the Wood Elves, so, this isn't honestly a matchup I've done a whole lot. I don't play a lot of Empire, generally, because I find Net of Amantok is a bit boring, and that seems to be the way you win most matchups with the Empire, so yeah, I just tend to not bother much. But I thought I'd give it a go, and so I'm against the Wood Elves, so basically I went with a rather fun tactic. So I went with Boris Todbringer, because, he can regenerate, and he's got, just great stats. He's just really sturdy guy. So, always handy. And in the air, so, he'll be able to fight off a Gladiator or anything like that, which is pretty good. Also, front line, just cheap swordsman. I've got some spearmen with shields on the side, so really good melee defense on these guys, and of course some anti-large on the sides is always good. I've also got some great swords. These guys will be very vulnerable to missiles, but if I can get them into the fight, then they're going to really do wonders in the front line. I do have the Royal Altdorf Griffites for dealing with any cavalry or treekin or anything big, really. And also I've got 2 units of handgunners, so the handgunners will be really handy for shooting down flying units, or treekin, or treemen, or, basically anything big. These guys will be able to churn through pretty quickly. But basically, this is the sort of theme of my army here. So I've gone with the double Amber Wizard. They have nothing but the Power Stone and Flock of Doom. Obviously they're on Griffins. So these guys will have a lot of AP on the Griffins. I'm able to get them around a lot. But they will be a little bit vulnerable in the air, but that Flock of Doom does wonders against the elves, because all their archers and things, they don't have big health pools. So a few Flocks of Doom and their health goes down very quickly, and then it's really easy just to, if you do get any cavalry or anything on them, they'll just, all the models will just die straight away, because they would have taken so much HP damage already from all the spells. So I quite like bringing these two. So it should be a fun one. So if we have a look at this army, now this is terrifying. This is exactly what I was hoping I wouldn't face. But you can see he's got front line of Eternal Guard shields, load of chevrons in them to keep them, fighting for as long as possible. But here he's got 4 units of Way Watchers. So these guys, they're pretty much artillery pieces. These guys, if I let them, they will just melt all of my air force. So I'm going to have to do a lot of bobbing and weaving. It's going to be very tough. So that's going to be really good fun. Also, he's got 2 units of treekin, so these guys will hold out for a long time. Be able to, fight me off, so I can't get into his Way Watchers easily. But of course, they are big targets and, great targets for my handgunners. Also, another unit of Eternal Guard in the back, just defend, against anything that might come in the rear. And he's also got an Ancient Treeman, which you don't often see. What spells has he got? So he's obviously got the Power Stone to keep him going. It looks like he's got Regrowth, Earthblood rather. He's got Dwellers Below. So, he's going to be fairly formidable, which is pretty cool. So, fun. So, as you can see, load of arrows flying in already. So they're all going to go for the Amber Wizard. And over here you can see he had a Vanguard deployed in the trees here. He had these Glade Riders with Hagbane tips, so these guys are going to be pretty useful to cause some harass. But he is very close to my handgunners right now, so that's good news. So let's speed things up and see how it goes. So you'll see I will take a little bit of damage, but I'm bobbing and weaving. So he's using ammo doing this, which is great, because Way Watchers, I mean, how much ammo do they have? It's only 19. So here you'll see that will unfortunately hit, and look at that. Down to half health from one volley. If he'd fled and they'd shot again, that would be it. He'd be dead. So this is ridiculous. So I'm bobbing and weaving, so that's another shot missed. But you can see how much damage Flock of Doom here has done. I mean, that's pretty formidable for one Flock of Doom. I don't think that was even overcasted. So it's pretty formidable. So here my spearmen are taking a bit of a beating, but, I've got my handgunners shooting these Hagbane tips down. You can see they're losing health very quickly. And I'll send my Royal Altdorf Griffites around. So I'm keeping him back a little while. And charging in my infantry. Unfortunately, my swordsmen are taking so much damage, but they've got shields, so I'm quite happy for the Way Watchers to use their ammo hitting these guys. But, they've still got a lot of shots left, and my front line is already completely in tatters. And unfortunately, Grey Swords, they don't have any shields, so if he starts focusing them down, you'll see they just melt. Absolutely melt. So another Flock of Doom comes here. Luckily, I'm hitting 5 units at a time, so he could have spaced his units out a bit more to avoid me being able to do that. But, I mean, look at the amount of damage, of course, just by a couple of spells. So that's pretty great, but I have taken a ton of damage. I mean, look at these great swords. They're all but gone. So here, I'm actually just going to charge in on the Way Watchers on the side, do some damage to them. You can see the Royal Altdorf Griffites be able to come around and do some damage to the treekin. I've got each of my handgunners fighting a different unit of treekin. You can see this one's taking a ton of damage. So another Flock of Doom comes down here. So you can see all these Way Watchers now on half health. Unfortunately, they've still got 45 unit models, so I do want to do something about that. So here you can see Dwellers Below comes down, and it will do a ton of damage to my swordsman, but I can't really escape it here. I'd have to run right through it, so that's pretty good positioning, honestly. So here, I've got my Amber Wizard and my Boris Toddbringer in here, trying to fight these guys, but, you know, with the Eternal Guard that he had in reserve, that's great for him. So here, I'm trying to keep on these guys, but they're just not breaking. But they have lost a lot of units, so that's good. These guys are both still on 45, I believe. Yep, very unfortunate for me. Some of my front line is broken. I'm going to have some handgunners deal with these Eternal Guard, because I can't have them coming back in and sneaking into my handgunners there. Unfortunately, yeah, they spaced out the units a bit, and another volley into my Amber Wizard, and they're all dead. Because of course they are. So another Flock of Doom comes in here, try and do some damage, but you can see Boris taking an absolute beating from these guys. Luckily, finished off the Treekin here, and I can start getting my Warlord of Gryphites into the back, deal with these other Way Watchers here. But you can see I am taking far too much damage. That Amber Wizard is running, Boris is taking a huge amount of punishment, and he's still got quite a lot of strength here with these Way Watchers, you know, he can still focus down a lot of units. One thing that I think I would have done with him, although I did apply a lot of pressure here, I think these Way Watchers, some of them should have just been finishing off these handgunners nice and quickly. Because these handgunners, I'm getting a lot of use out of them, and he could have killed them very quickly with the Way Watchers. They're very accurate, do a ton of damage. These guys would drop like flies. So here, I'm pulling out the Royal Altdorf Gryphites for a bit. Unfortunately, they're taking a load of punishment from these guys, which is not good. My Amber Wizard's coming back, though, so is Boris. So I'm actually going to fly them outwards, I think. So I get another Flock of Doom, because there's a nice big blob. So another ton of damage on these guys, but basically I've not been able to shut them down before they're going to run out of ammo. They're going to be able to get, you know, so much use out of these guys. Luckily, I just managed to avoid some of those arrows. I'm constantly having to zigzag my flying units to stop this from happening. It's pretty scary. So in the front line, my great swords have finally been terrified away by the Ancient Treeman. So great use of the Ancient Treeman there, actually. The Terror does definitely help, especially when you've got a front line that just doesn't cave. When it gets to a point where it's just down to the last few men, that can really help tip the balance, which is pretty great. So here, as you can see, the handgunners now are getting shot at, and they're barely being shot by anything. There's only 25 guys in that unit, but even with a couple of volleys, I've lost a load of handgunners. So if he really used these guys to focus down on my handgunners, he could have wiped them all out in no time. So I am getting some guys coming back, which is great, but I'm kind of all over the place, and leadership isn't great anywhere. So, and he's got a pretty solid force in the middle. Luckily, he is starting to run out of ammo. These guys have only got, what? Oh, they're out of ammo. And these guys have only got 5 shots left, so it's pretty great. Unfortunately, this one's still completely healthy, 45 units. So here, Ancient Treeman's coming in, but he is chasing a little bit much here. I think he wanted to press the advantage, but with me bringing my units back, you know, back around here, and, you know, got the handgunners firing at him, that's going to do a lot of damage. And I can send these in different directions. And he's not actually chasing me up with his Way Watchers. It looks like he's trying to form a line again, but with his general caught out like this, yeah, I can basically just attack him with everything here. So that's pretty great. So stuff is going to get terrified. My Warlord of Gryphites are being shot at by the Hagbane tips, and I'm trying to get them in to help deal with these guys, but it's tough. Another Dwellers Below coming in, but I move out of the way. So I actually move closer to him so I can keep shooting at him, and I can bring the Amber Wizard in here too. So that Ancient Treeman is not in a good way, but he has managed to terrify away all of my infantry again, which is very unfortunate. Now the cavalry are coming in, that's pretty bold. So here, I've got my Altdorf Gryphites trying to come in, but they're just going to get taken out, unfortunately. I should have pulled them right back. But I wanted to keep pressure back here, so he couldn't reinforce. Because if I can take out his Lord, that is great for me. But unfortunately, yeah, my Gryphites just get taken out, which is very sad. Over on this side, I've got these guys pinned. So as you can see, I'm sending just the odd unit around to try and keep all these guys busy. These Way Watchers, they're about to run out of ammo. So that's great news for me, especially because they're just shooting at spearmen. So that's fantastic. So when they're not doing that, they're not shooting at my Amber Wizard or Boris. So great news. So you can see the Ancient Treeman still going. He's got 500 health. It's going down though. Still got handgunners firing at him. But here you can see Eternal Guard are coming in, and I need to deal with them somehow. Luckily, I do have more Great Swords coming back. There's 37 of them, which is pretty great. So I run it with Boris just to try and hinder them a bit, knowing that he doesn't really have anything that can do a crazy amount of damage all at once to Boris anymore. So although he's near his healing cap, I can keep him fighting for a bit, and if he does get too injured to stay in combat, he can leave. And that's fine. But it means I can get that Terror in there, I can do some damage. But yeah, he's being very stubborn here. He's being very stubborn. So I think I should use Flock of Doom here, just to make sure he breaks. Because the rest of these guys I should be able to deal with in melee and shoot out with my handgunners, which is pretty great. So I think the Ancient Treeman's dead. Yep, so there's the Treeman. Poor little guy, he's just turned into firewood. So yeah, my handgunners finished him off, and now the handgunners are free to shoot at, you know, the Eternal Guard. The Way Watchers, actually saying there, how are their stats? So 37 and 32, and yeah, 30 and, oh, 58. So yeah, these guys are definitely, yeah, they're not going to be as good in melee as the Eternal Guard. They're not going to hold up as well. So I'd rather shoot these guys down. to be honest. The Way Watchers without any ammo, don't have to worry too much. So I've sent my really haggard swordsmen to chase off those Eternal Guards. They can't rear charge me, and I'm sending my Great Swords in. So the Great Swords should have no problems fighting the Way Watchers. Threw a Flock of Doom in there, just, you know, for good measure. And you see a load of stuff has started shattering, and that's that. But that was pretty crazy, honestly. Really close. If I hadn't tried to regroup a bit, you know, if I hadn't managed to pull out my last 2 flying units into the back, I would have been in real trouble. Because he was able to focus me down incredibly well with those Way Watchers. You can see the amount of kills they got. And, I mean, one of those was a, Amber Wizard. So, you know, that's huge, right? That's a huge amount of damage these guys did. They almost killed Boris. They almost killed the second Amber Wizard. And yet they managed to get all of those kills. They managed to kill so many of my infantry. And a load of those were Great Swords. I mean, look at that. Whole unit wiped out. Whole unit, entire unit of Great Swords got 0 kills because the Way Watchers just focused it down and murdered it. So I actually love this combination because the Way Watchers, so expensive. Right, that is a very expensive back line to have. But Wood Elves, they've got fantastic sort of frontline infantry just for like holding the line for a long time. I mean, the Eternal Guard, they're no pushovers. They've got great melee defense. So you charge them with anything, they will hold for a long time. So it actually gives the Way Watchers a lot of time to really get value. So I really like this. This is a fun army, and he saves a bit of money bringing the Ancient Treeman rather than say like Durthu or someone. So I think it's pretty great, and you know he's got that healing in there again just to keep his front line going, just so the Way Watchers can kill as much important stuff as possible. Treekin didn't do so well here. The Treekin I find are better to place amongst Spearmen, so that way they can sort of back each other up. So, you know, they don't get focused down as easily, basically. Because if he'd had these amongst Eternal Guard, I couldn't have just wiped him out with the Royal Altdorf Griffites. And, you know, I still would have been able to shoot him with handgunners, but he could have taken out both units of handgunners with just a couple volleys from these guys. So he could have wiped him out, and as you can see, they proved pretty vital. They did a ton of damage. They killed the Ancient Treeman pretty much by themselves. Boris helped, but it was pretty much all these guys that dealt with him in the end. So, you know, it's pretty great. But I love this build, honestly. I really do love these Wood Elf builds. I've got a real thing for Wood Elves at the moment. I actually got some Wood Elf miniatures for Christmas, so I think I might actually post some of those, you know, at some point when I finish painting them. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know. At the moment, I've only done like 1.5, like Eternal Guard so far, but I got some Sisters of the Thorn on the way as well, which will be fun. So anyway, guys, enough of me rambling. If you enjoyed this video, please do comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.